We were talking about compensatory sleep. Why does everyone like sleep? Has anyone asked this question? We all like sleep. Every person likes sleep, right? So why do we like sleep? So in sleep, two things happen. Nature actually helps you with being in a state of unawareness of the body and the mind, naturally. So it is the nature's blessing. In a way, the nature is saying, this is your original state, being unaware of the body and the mind, being unattached to the body and the mind. Every time actually we become unattached to the body and the mind or detached from the body and the mind, we are actually in a very realm of happiness. We feel very happy and settled. Then the question comes, what do we know in that state? We don't know anything. Because what is there in that state? There is nothing there. So, in the state of detachment from the body and the mind, in the realm where we exist, there are only two things, there is ignorance and happiness. That is what we experience in deep sleep. In dream sleep, we experience dreams. So, it's not like total ignorance. There is detachment from the body, but as far as the mind is concerned, it's not ignorant. It is still kind of experiencing dreams. Okay. So if you just keep this template, that this is exactly what we do in sleep, it's the same template that we follow in meditation in waking state. That's all. So initially we get detached from the body, then we get detached from the mind, and then we enter into the realm of ignorance and happiness. And then we cross that also to enter into the realm of reality. That's all it is. So nature actually trains you. And when nature gives it, we are very happy. Okay, we'll say, okay, you are telling me to sleep, I'm going to sleep. But when nature says you only do it yourself by being in a waking state, then we complain. It's like if you have to take your own responsibility, we complain. If somebody else is providing for us, we are very happy. Sorry, somebody else is providing for us, we are happy. If we have to take the responsibility and then do it ourselves, we are not very happy. It's like as if somebody else cooks the food and give it to you, you are very happy to eat it. If you have to cook yourself and then eat it, then you are not very happy. Sorry? We are not able to hear properly. Ganeshan, are you saying something?
No, brother.
Then who is speaking? Somebody is speaking.
Background noise.
Can you hear?
I think
Oh, some.
Ganeshan brother has some background noise.
Well, that's what I thought. But Ganesh said that he is not speaking. Any background noise in your place, Ganesh? No, no. Hmm. Oh, somebody who is not the four of us is speaking somewhere else, and it's coming through here. And our Bharat is also not there today. So, but we heard this two, three times now. So I was just wondering, where is this noise coming from? Nobody is here. Just check. Gopal Krishna, is there somebody around you? Okay. We'll start. Yesterday's session went on for nearly 2 hours, 5 minutes. We finished at almost 10 o'clock, 10:10. So, a lot of question and answer things were asked and lot of clarifications. It's very difficult to find all those clarification in one place. So, and lot of youngsters could not attend meeting. Yesterday, I realized that managing the admin part of it and then also being the presenter is actually pretty difficult. So I had not asked anybody to come and manage the admin part of letting people in. So I had n number of messages saying that we're waiting, you are not letting us in. So I don't know whether it was a technical issue because I could not see anybody here waiting in the waiting room. So I don't know what happened. So anyway, a lot of youngsters have messages saying that we could not get into the room itself. So I'll just put the link for yesterday's session in the group today so that people can watch it over the weekend. Okay. Okay, let's now talk about the continuation. The truest form of gratitude is to make good use of what you receive. Posture may seem like a small thing, but in this respect, it cements our relationship with the source. But don't worry, if you can't sit with folded legs, it's okay. In that case, sit on a chair with your feet on the ground. But cross your feet at the ankles, one over the other. Please underline this. Now, many people don't follow this. When you go to the ashram, you can just observe what do people do with their feet. You can see that they don't actually cross it at the ankles, and that's important. That allows you to retain some of the cross-legged effect. If you've had knees, if you have bad knees, then don't try it. You can just keep a small mat under your feet instead. This will help prevent energy drainage as long as it is made from a non-conductive material. So somebody else asked yesterday. So for meditation, we have to keep this mat, a non-conductive mat. What about relaxation? If we keep the mat, we are not able to draw the energy from Mother Earth, the healing energy from Mother Earth. What to do? So are we supposed to keep the discard the mat for relaxation and keep the mat again for meditation? In that case, the relaxation meditation will become discontinuous. What to do then? So I said not to worry. You keep the mat. The healing energy from the Mother Earth is not going to be obstructed by your mat. That's all right. So continue to keep the mat and then continue the meditation after relaxation. Actually, interesting question though, because that question had never popped up in anyone's mind. Suddenly, one fellow messaged me 2 3 days back. What do we do with this mat during relaxation versus meditation? So, this idea is completely new to me, I said. The ancients tended to meditate on animal skins, said Daji. In fact, the kind of animal skins that they used actually indicated their spiritual progression. That's how the ancient custom was. Lalaji says to certain abhyasis in the 44 whispers, now you have reached this stage, you can use a deer skin. Now you have reached this stage, you can use tiger skin. Okay. Now, if we use tiger skin, government will be behind us like a tiger. You are not supposed to use any of those skins. Anyway, it's because skin is non-conductive. But other materials are not just as good. You can sit on a wooden cloth or a silk covered cloth, and that's more comfortable. A wooden plank or a carpet or a cushion will all work. What about a sofa? I asked. Because everyone in sofa is there. Now everyone has a sofa. So yes, a sofa or a chair will also suffice as long as the material is non-conductive. It's okay. Is it alright to use some kind of back support when we meditate? I asked. Yes, said Darji. Many people sit like that and meditate well, but we should definitely avoid resting the head when we meditate. That will put you right to sleep. For the same reason, we should avoid lying down when we meditate. If you lie down, you actually go to sleep. And you can see who is going to sleep now. However, if you suffer from insomnia, there is also the that is also the cure. lie in bed and start meditating, you will fall asleep straight away. That's one of the things. If people complain, especially elderly people complain about sleeplessness, no, you just ask them to meditate for half an hour and then go to sleep. They'll go to sleep pretty early. It's a very good thing. Now, you give me the reason why we go to sleep very well after doing some session of meditation in the night. Why is that we go to sleep?
Because both of them are in the same direction. Because both of them are in the same direction, inward.
Exactly. You go to the same place and in the same direction in both the activities. So when you actually meditate, you are already in the place where you are supposed to be in sleep. So after meditation, when you lie down, you'll automatically be there and you will get good sleep. Some of our abhyasis who come here, they actually have tried it and they have actually verified this experience. And they said, if I get now, wake up in the midnight, I'll do meditation and then go to sleep. I'll get very good sleep. So that's
Yeah,
what
I
now
too.
see,
I too try this. Mm.
it works
It
because
really has a very good sleep you get.
that's because you're already in the place where you're supposed to be when you sleep.
Yes, yes.
So in that way, it was very nice. Yesterday, while sleeping for the first time, I could see different stages. Like you remember the three switch I told you when we get turned on in the morning? Now, I was experiencing the three switches getting turned off last night when I went to sleep. So the first switch of withdrawing from the body was turned on. Then, in other words, turned off. The switch was turned off of the body. Then the switch of the mind was turned off. Then I could see that I was actually lingering in the realm of the mind for some period of time with some thoughts. Then I could actually feel the stickiness of different thoughts. Then I had to tell my mind, now you are going to sleep. Don't go behind any thought, go to sleep. So after that, I went into sleep. So after having turned off both things. And then the third part, when you went into sleep, the awareness also was gone. Awareness that we are awake, that is now gone. So you now have awareness that you are asleep, but you don't know where you are. But it feels nice. It feels nice to be lost.
Yeah,
Good.
when we get up, it's most of the time my experiences, I come out with a dream. Is there any specific reason for that?
That is because in the early morning times, you have way more dreams. In other words, you spend lot more time in dreams in the early morning hours. So generally, when people get up, they can get up from two different states, either from a dream state or a deep sleep state. When you wake up from a deep sleep state in the morning, you will feel nothing. You kind of feel empty. You kind of woken up from an emptiness. But when you actually wake up from a dream state, you can actually remember the dream. Not the full details, but at least you have the awareness that you were in dream. So that's what happens. Okay. Okay. See, again, when I open the topic of sleep and food, no, everyone contributes. And when I open the topic of the food with our sisters, that means that whole session is now gone. Each one will talk about their experience in the kitchen. So that's one of the things that you can actually pick up as a topic when you go for talks in any sessions. Take the sisters to the kitchen for 10 minutes. Then you see how much energy will come into the session. Everyone will talk about it. So a lot of energy will flow. Everyone who is asleep also, they all will become awake because they want to share their experience. See, remember one thing. That thing that you have actually done for years together and you have gained rich experience of, you don't have a place to ventilate. You remember how many times sisters are asked, what is your experience in the kitchen? Does anyone ask? Nobody asks. So when this question is asked during a meditation session, no, Everyone is happy to contribute. So yesterday we were talking about the needs of every human being. One of the need of every human being, especially sisters who are there in the kitchen every day, is that there is a need for them to talk about it, but they are never given an opportunity to talk about it. So remember, if you give an opportunity to talk about it, you will get nice dishes from the kitchen after the talk is over. So that's one way of getting nice dishes. Okay.
And why do we get tears after the meditation?
Why do you get?
Get tears like it becomes very wet and
You
uh,
get tears for two reasons. Because we have actually filled in guilt-filled samskaras. You get tears. When you are getting rid of sadness samskaras, you get tears. So these two samskaras, when it's kind of removed from its place, you get tears. So I had one preceptor who used to come for 3 months. That fellow has cried for 3 months in every session of meditation. But that actually emptied lot of unnecessary things from the heart. So they develop pretty well. But it should not be artificial. It should just happen naturally. And if you actually ask them, they'll be tearful. But if you ask them, are you crying? They say, no, I don't, I'm not crying.
yeah.
But they are tearful. Okay. Sometimes the tears also come because of joy. When you experience a certain depth of consciousness that you have not experienced before, you are filled with joy from within. So that can also sometimes manifest as tears. So there are three reasons. The sadness-filled samskaras, guilt-filled samskaras when they're living, we are very regretful of that, the activities. And the third one is when the joy-filled samskaras, when you are in joy because of experiencing a sublime state of consciousness, then also you can feel tearful. Okay?
Yeah. When I asked a preceptor, he said that art is becoming a little softer.
Correct. See, the moment if you add water to anything, it becomes soft,
Yeah.
right? So when the tears are coming out, part of the tears are also there in the heart. So the heart becomes soft. It's a good sign. It just indicates that the heart, which was hardened, is now melting. Heart is a soft organ, very soft. So if somebody says something very loudly, it kind of withers. Okay, it's a very delicate organ. Of all the organs that we've got, heart is the most delicate as far as feeling is concerned. Okay, so when the heart which is so soft, we have made it so hard like stony hard because of feeling so many samskaras around it. So the first time when all these samskaras start leaving their place, the heart now can exhibit its original nature, which is the softness. Okay, don't go and tell people, I want to feel your heart, whether it's soft or hard. People will get scared. You should allow people to experience their own heart as being soft or hard. And that softness we also can feel in the way that they actually interact with us. You can feel that softness. And that is what we have all felt in the motherly, what do you say, care, the softness of the heart. And it melts like butter. And there is one person here who likes the butter a lot. So the soft heart melts like butter. You say one good thing, they'll be happy to do anything that you want. That's like, that's why we use the word in English, are you buttering? You remember, that's a normal word that we use in a colloquial language. Are you buttering them? So that means you're actually saying certain things to make that person happy. When you make that person happy, the heart melts. And the person melts, the heart melts, they start listening to you. Okay? So always remember, you should always praise somebody. So say, suppose somebody is many of you are managers. Somebody is doing a job and you feel that they are not doing very well. And you can tell them directly you are not doing well. That only increases the resistance. Better thing to do is first tell them that you are doing very well, even though you know that they are not doing very well. Once you tell them you are doing very well, they have now softened. Then you tell them what is the thing to be corrected or modified. They are more likely to listen to you if you do this. Otherwise, if you directly call them and say, blast them, saying that you are not doing this, you are not doing that, they will not do even more because they will develop resistance. Ego will react. If you want to keep the ego away, first always appreciate somebody. That is one way of actually loosening the ego, the hold of the ego. Appreciate somebody, even for a minor thing. When you appreciate them, they actually feel connected to you. Because one of the universal needs of every human being is appreciation. Attention, appreciation, respect, these are all universal human needs. Every human being is craving for that. Okay? So you utilize these tools, which are universal human needs, to help connect to the other person. How to connect heart to heart? It is through the application of the universal needs. Okay. Now, this is what you will learn when you do the heartfulness communication course. We have told you to do the heartfulness communication course, no? That's 16 hour. That is the early glimpse that you get when you do this course about how to connect to people based on their needs. Okay. And in general, anything that we say or do to make the situation softer or milder, to ease the situation, that actually helps us to connect to people. Okay. See, last week there was some dish that was done in the ashram, but how many people actually went and appreciated it? So Gopal Krishna, I'm giving you a tip. When you have a nice dish in the ashram, go and appreciate the cook. Go and appreciate the cooking team. Next time you'll get one more extra item. Okay, that's the formula to use. Don't go and ask extra. You just go and tell the sister who's serving you that you've done an excellent job. We are very happy with you. Rather than putting one dish, she'll give you two dishes. See, these are all techniques that we don't use. They're all very easy techniques anyone can practice. Now you tell me, how many people actually appreciate the people who are serving in the ashram? Nobody appreciates, right? They all do the job. Remember, appreciation is a very, very basic, fundamental, universal need of everyone. Okay? When we appreciate somebody, we actually get more out of them. Because art is also now ready to cooperate. When you ask them to do at the level of the mind, of course they will do certain things, but at the heart level, they might not be kind of very satisfied. And this can happen to any one of us also. So sometimes we feel that we have done certain things and we feel the need to be acknowledged, appreciated, and recognized. And when that does not occur, it actually leaves a gap in the heart. It gives a bittering or a lingering sense of dissatisfaction in the mind. And that's something that we actually get over. As we grow in spirituality, we are not as much looking for appreciation as before. That's one of the sign of growth. You are okay. Even if people appreciate, it's okay. If you don't appreciate, it's okay. You're doing work for the sake of work for work's sake. Then work becomes worship. And when you are reaching that stage, when the work becomes worship, that is an indication that you have now reached a certain level of spirituality. You are no longer worried about whether a particular thing that you do is acknowledged, appreciated, none of those things. You're just doing it for the sake of doing it because That itself gives you happiness. Work itself gives you the happiness, not the result of the work. The work itself gives you the happiness. It is in this context that Baswana said, Kayakave Kailasa, work is worship. Okay. So now let's come back to our work. Now we have yet to discuss what I consider to be the most important aspect of the posture. Your pose should not get in your way. If your pose distracts you from meditation, now this is one of the other things about posture. The posture should not distract you from what you are actually trying to do. So it should not get in your way of doing what you are supposed to do. If it distracts you from meditation, it defeats the very purpose. I have told you just that the cross-leg pose is ideal, but is it ideal for you? Each body is unique. Some people prefer to sit on the floor, so while others cannot sit without a chair. Because there is such difference between bodies, we can never expect uniformity. We can never expect all people to adopt the same posture for meditation. The cross-legged pose works well for some, but others can't meditate like that. If a pose doesn't work for you, you should not try to force yourself to adopt it. It is like Hippocratic oath. First, do no harm. In fact, Patanjali seems to say the very same thing. Stiram Sukham Asanam. Please underline that. Stiram Sukham Asanam. Posture should be steady and comfortable. Okay. Patanjali does not insist that we should sit in full lotus posture. Nor does he say that we should sit on the ground. He only says be steady and comfortable. Why should we be steady? If you're constantly changing your position and fidgeting around, you won't be able to meditate. Physical steadiness is necessary. Please underline this. So initially we get into physical steadiness, then we get into mental steadiness. After that, we cross the physical and the mental realm to enter into the spiritual realm. That is what we do. Now, how to achieve this steadiness? There are two ways. The first way is to be forceful. This is not recommended, of course. Yet, with great effort, it is surely possible to ignore your body pain signals and force yourself to be still. Of course, everything will hurt. You may even injure yourself, but you will be steady as a rock. But will your mind be steady? More likely, it will be very busy with the body's sensation of pain and discomfort. Then that becomes your object of meditation. With this approach, you go against the body while preventing the mind from meditating. Now, when both the body and mind be steady? Only when you are comfortable. This is the second way, the Patanjali's way. Without comfort, you fidget. You shift your position this way, that way. Continuously, you search for comfort. Then there is no steadiness. When you are comfortable, on the other hand, you have no reason to move. The body does not want to move because you are anyway comfortable. Why do you want to move? So when the body is already in a comfortable posture, it will not want to move. The body does not want to move. You are just fine where you are. Then the body does not distract you. We should also avoid excessive comfort. That also binds our attention to the body. Now, it is not as if we are against the body. In fact, we really must thank the body because it's the jumping board from which we dive deeper into consciousness. Without the body, our ability to dive deeper into consciousness is not there. That's why having a body and having this life with the body is a very big blessing. Okay, that's why we say human life is very, very precious. Because having this body gives us the ability to dive deeper into consciousness. So when the body is ill, you will not be able to dive deeper into consciousness. That's also one of the reasons why it is our primary duty to take care of our health also. So spirituality does not say ignore your health. Spirituality says you have to take care of your health. Because only with the body and the mind is healthy, we can dive deep into the consciousness. If these two things are unhealthy, we cannot dive deep into consciousness because they will not cooperate. Okay. So if somebody is diabetic, it's important to control the diabetes because otherwise it will have an impact in terms of your experience of meditation and your ability to dive deeper into consciousness. So irrespective of what illness we get, we have to learn to take care of it. Then dive deep into the consciousness. That becomes the board with which we actually dive into the consciousness. But we have to jump, not cling on to the board. Now, Daji is using the example of board because from the board we actually dive into the swimming pool. Likewise, from this board of the body, we have to dive into the deeper realms of consciousness. We should not get attached. It's not like you go and stand on the diving board and you are stuck there and not dive. That's of no use, right? So, but we have to jump and not cling onto the board. So, for that reason, we avoid any extremes that will make us focus too much on the body. Moderation should be our watchword. Remember, one of the sessions, I think we have spoken a lot about mangoes. One of the person who watched that session has messaged me saying that this entire session is about mangoes. So I said it's the mango season. That's why we have spoken about mangoes. So another learning for you is that spirituality. Now underline this word. Moderation should be the buzzword. Spirituality allows you to enjoy everything in life
Agree.
without getting impacted by it.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
under what conditions you don't get impacted by it? If you have moderation. So, by developing this quality of moderation, actually, spirituality helps you to lead life to the fullest. It will give you opportunity to experience everything in life without getting impacted. It will also make your experience richer. So that's how spirituality experiences. Now, when people think about spirituality as something you are supposed to develop vairagya, you are not supposed to look at the mango, you are not supposed to eat the mango, everyone will run away. I don't want spirituality, I want my mango.
Yeah,
Right?
I would like to add something here. Because like that is what I think it's a completeness, no? Purnatvam they call, no? I think most of the attributes which we have, if you know how to use it at what place, I think that is what we have to learn here, not to ignoring something and going towards something. That's a very good. Correct. I agree.
In fact, vairagya is not about not having any possession of the object. Vairagya is about having the possession of the object, but utilizing the object when and where necessary to the appropriate extent needed, without being attached to it. That's all. We can say we are all having vairagya towards car because we don't think about car at any point of time. When we require to use the car, we go to the car, we go and utilize it, and then come back. And after that, we are away from the car. We are no longer thinking about the car. Right? That's exactly how we should do with every object. We should utilize the object for the right purpose at the right time, in the right extent, and after that, we should not have any lingering impact. When you
Right.
have lingering impact, that means you are forming samskaras.
So in that case, there's nothing called a negative and positive. If you
Exactly.
know how to if you know how to use it, you are good. That's all.
Right. This particular approach actually helps you to get over the dvandvas very easily. So in that way, forget about negative, positive. In that way, you'll also see that there is nothing called as good or bad. Everything has its role in life, right? So we will not be dogmatic when we have this approach. Then you will accept everything. So this is the basis for acceptance, which is why I keep saying that when we develop vairagya in the second point, the acceptance at the first point becomes strong-footed. In the initial first point, acceptance, without the vairagya, the second point, the acceptance in the first point is very wobbly. Sometimes we have acceptance, sometimes we don't have. But when that acceptance now becomes supported by the vairagya at the second point, the acceptance becomes much more strong-footed and also steady. Okay. Now, in order to use the other word, I made you underline, it becomes your steady second nature. So After reading everything as second nature, then you will wonder about what is the first nature then. What should be our first nature? If everything is second nature, what should be our first nature? Anyway, therefore, we should avoid both discomfort and extreme comfort during meditation. In other words, moderation. Now we come to Patanjali's next verse. Prayatna Saitil Yananta Samapatibhyam. By relaxation of effort and meditation on the endless, posture is mastered. So please underline this. By relaxation of effort and meditation on the endless, the posture is mastered. Now you see, earlier we spoke about posture helping meditation. Now we are talking about meditation helping posture. So they actually work like a loop, feed into one another. Okay. The more you are able to meditate properly, the posture becomes better. The more you're able to keep the posture, the more deeper the meditation goes. The connect with the source becomes much more clearer. Now let's understand this. What does it mean to master something? When something is mastered, it becomes second nature. I told you about it. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to expend efforts for it. To be masterful is to be effortless. You see, if you have to expend efforts to achieve your pose, you have to not master it. Until you have mastered it, you are its slave. So let us not meditate in difficult positions that require so much energy and attention. That only distracts us from meditation. When we are comfortable in our pose, we can turn our attention to the real object of meditation, which Patanjali referred to as the endless. In the Samadhi state, you plunge so deeply inside yourself that you lose bodily awareness. Then your head droops. Your body may even slump forward. You have forgotten the body, and in this forgetting, you have transcended it. Only then can we say that the pose is truly mastered. But this has to happen naturally. If you look at the feedback of many of the Abhyasis who come for meditation here, you see that very rarely people speak about the body related sensations. Most of the people actually are beyond the realm of the body during the meditation sessions. They are very comfortable. Many times, even during the first two, three sittings, they have actually gone beyond the realm of the body. They don't have awareness of the body. That is because of the effect of the pranahuti. So we don't slump on purpose then. I said that would be artificial, said Daji. Rather, you should start meditation in an upright pose, relaxed and comfortable. As you go deeper into meditation, you will lose awareness of your pose, and that's fine. After all, this is meditation, not gymnastics. Okay. So let's stop here and then continue. Uh, it's only 7:13. If you want to relax now, I can do some bit of relaxation. One paragraph of relaxation. Let's continue with one or two paragraphs then. Relaxation. The relaxation method supplements the three core practices of heartfulness. Compared to those practices, the method is a recent addition. Furthermore, the relaxation method is not strictly a spiritual practice, as its main purpose is to relax the body. However, physical relaxation also helps us with mental and emotional calmness, which facilitates deeper meditation. For this reason, we often use relaxation method just prior to meditation. The method can also be used on its own as a simple stress relief tool according to our preference. I vividly remember my introduction to relaxation method. While sitting with Daji in his office, he turned to me and said, let me show you how to relax. He proceeded to guide me through the steps of method, pausing shortly between each one to allow its effect to settle. When he finished speaking, I found such stillness within myself that I did not want to move a single muscle. I did not feel like opening my eyes. I did not even feel like having a single thought. In fact, my state of relaxation was so profound that it is as if I was already meditating. So, when we are able to relax to that level of depth of relaxation, we are already meditating. Now, 1 year later, we discussed why he added the relaxation method to the heartfulness practice. I think that relaxation came more easily in early times, he said. Our lifestyle currently are different now. These days, we have to consciously relax ourselves. See what a state we have come to. Now we have to make efforts to achieve effortlessness. What was happening naturally before, now we have to make efforts. See, for example, we did not have phone before, mobile. So we were always away from it. Now we have to make efforts to be away from mobile. Now we have to make efforts to be from digital media. Now we have to make efforts to be away from television. Earlier, the only thing that they were getting was the newspaper, and that's it. So there was nothing else to distract the mind too much. But now the mind is bombarded with so many distractions. So that is why we require more effort to become effortlessness now. Effortlessness is essentially in meditation, but instead we tend to apply both physical and mental efforts. As we sit in meditation, we constantly adjust ourselves. We just adjust our body, our thoughts, our awareness. We make repeated attempts to rest our unsettled consciousness. In all this movement, can we possibly derive rest? It only makes us further unsettled. I said. The search for selfless stillness ends up creating its opposite. Then we become tense. We become stressed. I can tell I can tell you to be effortless. I can tell you to be open, to be undemanding, to be non-insistent. And you agree, yes. You say, I will not expend any efforts in meditation. I will not seek anything. I will not demand anything. But what happens when you actually meditate? He let the question linger for some time. So he just asked, kind of let the question linger for Joshua Pollock to reflect. Then he says, there was once a little boy who lived in the foothills of Himalayas, he said. One morning he woke up and saw a yogi flying in the sky. The little boy was impressed. The more he thought about this flying yogi, the more he wanted to be able to fly like him. He decided to track him down. He packed a small bag and left early in the morning. After asking around and taking a few wrong turns, some villagers directed him to the hut of this man. I want to fly like you, said the boy. The yogi said, okay, why not? I will teach you, but for this you will have to stay with me for many years as my servant. On the first full moon day of your 15th year, I will teach you this method. So the boy stayed with him. He carried water from the well, gathered the firewood, cooked all the yogi's meals, but none of this hard work bothered him at all. He was too excited that he would soon be able to fly. Eventually, the day came, and filled with joy, the teenager bounded into his guru's room. Tonight is the full moon night. My boss, please tell me how to fly. Sure, I'll help you, said the yogi. Tonight, meditate at midnight, but whatever may happen, don't think of the monkeys. They may jump in your mind, they may dance, they may try to attack you, but don't think of them. Then the teaching will come to you. So the boy said, oh, it's very simple. I can do this. No monkeys. At midnight, he sat on the top of the roof and closed his eyes. The first thing, the monkey came into his mind. I'm not supposed to think about the monkeys, he thought. He tried not to think about them, but the monkeys kept coming. All night long, he fought with the monkeys. In the morning, he went back to the yogi and said, this method is rubbish. You should not have told me anything about the monkeys. You see, the boy lost his dream of flying because he was so focused on not thinking about the monkeys. By trying not to think about them, monkeys came instead of the teaching. Trying not to do something is counterproductive. And even if you somehow are able to consciously drop off your efforts, you still make subliminal efforts, you make unconscious efforts. You cannot help yourself. Effort is difficult to stop, you see. To enforce a state of effortless upon yourself requires the biggest possible effort you can make. It is counterproductive. So, why are we so effortful by nature? I asked. Effort is rooted in the primal state of restlessness, said Daji. It is based on the soul's inherent need to return to the original state to unite with the source. That is what this restlessness really is. You see, and that is also what turns us into spiritual seekers. In all this restlessness, you are searching for something. You try to escape the dissatisfaction and unsettledness that you feel in the present moment. Furthermore, you hope that the next moment will bring contentment and peace. Meanwhile, you are afraid of repeating your past, a past that only led you to your present state of unsettledness. In all of this, you miss out on the endless possibilities of the present moment Calmness eludes you. Inspiration eludes you. Okay. So you see, we only drop our efforts when we become content. But we can only be content when we finally drop our efforts. So it's a paradox, said Daji. So that's why he wrote the book on paradox. There are so many paradoxes like this. And we have to transcend the paradox to actually get into the original state. Okay. So we'll continue with the paradox tomorrow. Exact dot 7:20. Good.